You know, when you have to have strategy consultants for a small scale up, yeah, let's say 50 million US of revenue, it costs you easily 3 months and 30,000 US to have a few slides of some clever strategy. So it's long, it's expensive, so you're probably not going to do it. Now we do something very similar in 90 minutes workshop. Intersect of exponential thinking and methodology, because it's the art of asking the right questions, working on the business, which I've done for years. Leveraging the generative AI and that's the power of having 1,000 consultants in the room on 2 layers. One, aggregated knowledge in the web, but then thinking on themselves. It's like having these 1,000 guys speaking to each other, what do you think, and generating new insights in real time.
Today I'm speaking to Loic Potjes, CEO of DisruptiveLeap.com. Welcome to Grow and Learn. We're talking entrepreneurship, how to scale up companies. And our guest today has shifted focus a few times from corporate to entrepreneurship, then again, due to some realizations about his inclination of work. He likes to work on the business, not in the business. I'm welcoming Loic from Johannesburg, South Africa. Hi.
Thank you, Zorina, for having me. Great to be on the show today, on the podcast, and yeah, can't wait to have our conversation.
Me too. Happy to have you. Loic, where do we start? Let's start with your impressive network, which comes from the YPO, the Young Presidents Organization. Tell us a bit about your engagement there. How did you end up being a member, and who are the people that you normally interact with in this network?
Yeah. So I was at the time a young expat CEO in Johannesburg, and we had a local investor, which was a local billionaire in South Africa, turned mayor of Johannesburg, and Herman Mashaba, and he said to me, "Hey, Loic, you have to join YPO." And I said, "Yeah, sure, sounds great. By the way, what is it about?" And he told me it's actually a network unlike all the other networks. The thought is not networking. The thought is self-growth. It's about growing, learning, and the initial thought is for CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs who are in positions of large responsibility, at a fairly tender early stage of their career, and they think, "Wow, it's lonely at the top. All the experience we don't have. How can we accelerate our learning or growth to actually do justice to the roles, the responsibilities we have?" And the initial insight was, well, if we can connect with others who are in the same position, then we can learn from each other and accelerate our learning. And so decades later, it's 40,000 founders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs across the globe in literally every large city around the globe. And we have local events, global events. We have forum, which is kind of sharing group where we co-mentor each other. And yeah, it's been an absolute amazing journey. And what's fascinating about it is that it's people, the human nature, we tend to stick to whom we know. So captains of the same industry will stick together, people of the same cultural background or faith or age group or entrepreneurs or family businesses. We like to stick to what's comfy, right?
Mm.
And in YPO, there's diversity, and diversity for the right reasons. We mix industry, age, a family business with an entrepreneur, with a corporate guy, and across countries. And what you can learn from these different perspectives is absolutely fascinating. And yeah, I've been a member for 12 years, and it truly has been transformational for me.
Mm-hmm. And right now, you are coaching executive CEOs in your current daily activities. How do you mix these two things together? Your learnings from the YPO and the way you coach people?
Yeah, YPO has been part of my journey alongside many, many other things. Um, a super recent development that I found really like a aha moment for me. I'm nearly 50, so and I've been diagnosed with severe ADHD. And that was for me an illumination because I've always worked naturally from a tender age on a business. I was thrown at the deep end when I was 23 to run the Catholic Church finances in Zambia. And it was a little bit in a mess, people of goodwill, but not really greatly organized. And I had to fix it. Thrown at the deep end, do an 80-20 and then started working on business units in Belgium for multinationals, then in Europe and scale, chop, change, build teams, but naturally get disinterested once we got to the routine, the day-to-day, keeping the train on the rails forever. And then did an MBA, then got to be at 31, a first CEO assignment. A few years later, ran a company with 4,000 people, and then had to change. And so what's fascinating for me, it speaks of alignment to who I am. And like what I'm starting to learn about ADHD or the slight spectrum of, call it autism or something like that, there's a kind of brilliance in the way neurons are connecting together. And people told me there's not a problem you can't solve. There's not a like working on businesses as a chairman, as a coach, as a CEO, but of a large scale up with a team to run the day-to-day behind me, as always something I excelled at. But I was coming greatly short on the day-to-day management. And it was bugging me. I was thinking, well, others are way better than I could visibly see. And so to me, in my current role, it's about alignment to it's a journey of self-discovery. And it's fascinating that I'm starting to learn and continuing to learn at 50. It sounds great. I'm currently with the IMD in Switzerland doing a master coaching course and so on. And so to me, I bring that exceptional problem-solving skill, scale up, that ability to connect the future. For new technologies, I read 3 pages, half an article, and I can see what it could do, how to turn that into a business model. And so, but don't ask me to actually run that business. It would be an absolute disaster. And so for founders and CEOs who are every day running the business and the hard grinds of the 16 hours a day or whatever it is, and often lose that perspective, lose the sense of direction, lose the sense of the 80-20. I found it's a great combination to have that. And I do twice a month session and we uplift and it's a mix of coaching, mentoring. And so, yeah, that's what I do today. It gives me great joy, fulfillment, and it's also fascinating back to YPO, and a lot of my clients are from that network, amongst others. But to talk to the CEO of a business in Hong Kong, then India, then San Francisco, New York, London, Mexico, Lithuania, Malawi, and it's fascinating to see those depth of industries, cultures, religions, understandings of the world, different markets and spaces. And what I guess I bring is that external perspective. So I am not the absolute expert at your industry, your market, but I will bring a whole lot of different. I will ask all the stupid questions. Oh, why are you doing it this way? Well, hang on, we've always done it this way, and so on. And yeah, it's kind of I see CEO coaching as a continuation of what I've always done, essentially. I do boards as well.
I work with, yes, I collaborate with quite a few startup founders as well. And my observation is that the majority of them actually prefer the type of work that you're talking about, starting it up, working on the business rather than in the business. They're these types of characters. So I'm not here to, contradict any medical diagnosis or anything like that, but I'm thinking it's a it's a character trait, isn't it? You know, I myself also prefer to work on something new to create rather than to run the machine. But it's a matter of character, of preference, of you know, what drives you.
Absolutely. It's personalities, but it's funny. I was talking to a friend, he's based in London, and he said to me, well, in the UK, one out of four people are diagnosed with ADHD at various levels of intensity,
We
and
should question
probably,
the methods of diagnosis and what it actually means,
you
if
know,
it's relevant at all. Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me that most of these founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs have, to some extent, a little bit of ADHD as well, which is nothing bad about it. I think it's about learning about oneself, and it's that sense of alignment. What I see often founders and CEOs do, if they have that exact profile, that they're the great visionary founder, they have the ability to see through the next move in the market and strike a great deal, and convince and go and evangelize and preach the world and convince and bang doors open, they're probably reasonably average or outright bad at actually running the machine and holding the fort.
Mhm.
But a lot of them feel extremely bad about it and continue to try to do that. And they're absolutely miserable doing it. And frankly, they're very mediocre at doing it. And so understanding what you're great at naturally, not good at, because each of us, I believe, is naturally great at a couple of things. Then, obviously, if you're a founder, then you've had a few successes, you must be good at many things. But that's not the question. And then you're mediocre at other things. And the beauty is to finding on your team who balances you, who completes you, and not try to. Very tempting to hire more of the same because it brings that energy, the same thinking. Oh my God, we understand each other, but it doesn't move the needle. And I find that I can help quickly with strategy, with things, or they have it sorted because it's their gift. But on running the machine, I do quite a bit of work with those CEOs and founders on who's your core engine in the room and mapping how does that complement each other. So to your point and to your words, absolutely, I think it's a critical part. Yeah.
Mhm. It seems that a lot of your work borders psychology or business psychology or something along these lines of, let's say, mindset coaching. How would you assess your the type of work you do? Is it more on the mindset side or really on the business side, on the human side? What is the majority of work you do?
So the essence is business scaling. And around business scaling, to bake the right cake of success, you need a couple of ingredients. First, it's a clear strategy. The strategy, everyone says, "Oh, but I've got a strategy," and probably 9 times out of 10, it's wrong. It's not a strategy. It's merely a few ideas. Oh, we can sell this software, we can sell this, and if only we had 1% of the US market, life would be awesome. And but that's not a strategy. So a strategy is an articulated plan that says from the UPS, from the USP, like what makes me special? Why should they buy? Is it a cost? Is it an efficiency? So that's got to be crystal clear. From there, your route to market got to be crystal clear. From there, your expansion plan, how you're going to open up new markets, and are you going to wait 3 years to build a company, hire a team, and get some credibility in a new market, or can you time hack that? Can you get that through a smart JV in a month? So that's a plan. So you need to be clear on what you're going to do in 3 years, in 2 years, next month, next week. And if you haven't done this by next week, then you're not on path. So that's first ingredient is the strategic plan. I usually assist with that. The second point is the team in the room. That's your engine. Once you've mapped it's like running a Formula One race. You need to understand the markets, the things, and so that's your market research. That's the circuit. Is that like all straight lines or is it a lot of curves? Two is your plan and what kind of a chassis will I need and will I go slow at the beginning and accelerate, whatever. So that strategic plan. Then the engine is the core team we were referring to. Once I've got these three elements in place and I got a founder to get that aligned on an 80/20, you see exponential growth unlocking. And it's not a magical, but it's not about 20 elements or about long-term mindset things. It's excel at what you're good at, what you're great at. Make sure your team, you find the same, that pockets of excellence and greatness in the various parts of the engine you need. Your plan must be on an 80-20 practical, detailed enough. Then if your USP and if you're solving a real problem, there's no reason it shouldn't work. And then you should know the real test is, are you beating normal business growth? Not next year we'll do 10% more of the same, but is the growth curve hitting the hockey curve? That's the only test. And if we've got that right, it will. If we don't, then we're doing something wrong.
Mm. How long have you seen, how long does it take for a turnaround to be seen once you have these elements installed?
Anything from a month to a century to never ever. So
Uh,
it's not a magical science. If it
yeah.
was, I would be richer than Mark Zuckerberg. But I think within 3 months you can start seeing changes, but it requires, it's largely in the hands of the entrepreneur. It requires almost like drastic change in how he manages or she manages himself or herself. It manages the agenda, cut the clutter. 1 or 2 sessions are declutter sessions. It's quite clinical and rough. People like to hold on, oh, but surely I've got to control this, oh, I've got to do like, no, you don't actually. Does it move the needle? If not, delegate, push it. A life balance. Are you burning yourself? Are you burning your family? Marriage number, how much? How do you keep being sustainable yourself? How do you, and so some guys are well advanced in there, and some others are really at the start of their journey. So, and again, some of them will listen and say, "Oh, great, great thoughts, great insights, amazing," and will do absolutely nothing about it. And others will really change rapidly and unlock those opportunities.
Mm. Well, when you say you're helping entrepreneurs and at the same time, we're talking about getting rid of what's unnecessary, that already assumes, at least in my mind, that there's a large team. What is the size of the average entrepreneur that you're working with?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I typically I don't have much patience, so that's part of my probably how my mind works. But so to set up something like the first few years, like it's not my thing. So it's really post monetization and really at a certain scale. So typically it's businesses that have reached 15 million US dollar of annual revenue up to half a billion. Why not bigger? Because then it becomes more corporate, a little bit more slow. Yeah, it's the oil tanker, and that's really not my space. And then smaller than that, some of the basics aren't in place yet, and then you can't quite accelerate it if the basics aren't quite in place yet. So yeah, it's a large thing, but I would say 15 million US dollar of annual revenue to half a billion. Half a
Mm.
billion, the topics will be more like, do we need to go towards an IPO? How does that look like? How does it change my life as an entrepreneur? Like, and help them think and prep for that. And early stage, it's clearly about scaling up. Like if you've made it to 15, then how do you hit the 100 million milestone, etc. And yeah.
Mhm. I read yesterday on a website that helps startups prepare pitch decks for raising capital and stuff like that, that the share of women entrepreneurs has remained significantly low. Something like 17% of all the pitch decks that are being submitted are women entrepreneurs, and even a smaller percentage of them is funded. So when you look at your client base, what is the representation in scale-ups, not in beginning companies, but scale-ups, the companies, the type of companies that you're working with?
I think about the same.
I think
So 17%, 20%. Yeah,
something like that.
that's about that, yeah.
Yeah, in the
Mm.
C-suite, not.
Not C-suite. I only work with CEOs or chairman or so really the founder, entrepreneur, leader of the business.
Hmm.
And yeah, if I can, off the top of my head, like 20% sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. And is there a difference in the way you approach scaling up of women-led companies and male-led companies?
Absolutely not.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, why would I? So I think everyone is unique and different, and then the issues or the opportunities they will bring will be what resonates with them, where the business is at the stage, what resonates with them personally, and what. But you can see traits as well. I see that women are uh, caring more generally than men. It's not that men aren't, but like when it gets to the decision of we need to let go of that individual, they will, but they want to make sure it's the right decision. It's caring, respectful. There's that aspect that comes to mind. I'm sure that there are many more general traits and so on. But otherwise, the approach is, the business is the same. The culture might be different. So, quick short answer, no difference. But every coaching will be different because every company person is different, and so their needs will be different.
Mhm. I'll retract one step back or two steps back, talking about the greatness. How do you discover the greatness in people, or how do you help them, or is it entirely their task? How does that work?
So there's a lot of so it's psychometric assessments. And there's a million of them out there, all of them absolutely great, I'm sure. But the one I use is called Map and Match. And it doesn't work, it's a French test, and it doesn't work on competencies, but it focuses on appetence, so on talent. It's the joy of doing things. And so that should be aligned. So if I love playing soccer, probably I have a talent at playing soccer. Or if I love convincing people, or if I love shaping business models. But it will differentiate between talent that speaks to greatness. It's where you naturally flow, you naturally excel. It doesn't take any effort, and you overperform, and you get a sense of fulfillment, joy of it's linked to your passion and purpose as well. I do quite a bit of work on purpose. A number of the guys think after successful scaling about an exit and so on and so forth, and then what will I do next? And oh, shall I impact a million lives? And it sounds very theoretical and but coming from a good heart. And I realign them about what is it that's unique to you and that you're great at, and how can you, and because that's your own DNA. And the more you do of that, the more you'll experience joy, you'll be fulfilled, and the more you will be likely to have amazing results because it is your talent. Then you have to know what the areas where you're good at, because you can do some of that and you should. And then the areas where you are frankly mediocre at. And then that's the stuff and you could have a competence in that. The problem with CEOs is that they're good at many things. They've had to have the experience, and so they think, well, I can do it. Yes, you can, but you will suck at it. You will hate doing it. You will be frustrated. You will procrastinate. And frankly, nobody wants you to do that. And ask your team, they will gladly tell you, boss, keep away, don't touch it. We'll do it. And so, and so if they learn to realign, and so often when I do that diagnostic with them, they say, hey, there's nothing new. I knew that about me. But the thing is, it's bring clarity and a visual. And that's an aha moment and it's a guideline of what to do more of and less of. And if you're disciplined about it, you will realign and have great results for yourself, for your team, for your business.
Mhm. When you started coaching, were the problems that people were facing business-wise different than the problems that we're seeing in the past, say, year and a half, like in with the strong advance of AI, and are people's minds busy with other things now than
Yeah. You're
no?
mentioning AI. So of course, there's the world a little bit in chaos with someone in a leadership position in the US doing all sorts of things to upset markets, and maybe we won't discuss that today. But um, so beyond volatility, but volatility has always been there in various ways. The AI is it's the new monster in the room, right? So everyone is scared about it, enthused about it, and so what fascinates me there is that we're wired as humans to learn from the past, from past experiences. Now, when or something totally new arises, then we lost. And it's completely crazy because CEOs have absolutely all the skills to know how to deal with AI. They just don't know they have it. And there's that kind of obstacle because they see this thing as new. And then, but the point is, I always talk to them about three levels of using AI. So there's the mundane stuff. Huh? So you have a meeting notes reader, or you can make a great video in a few seconds, or write a beautiful message. So everyone does that. It's non-threatening for anyone. It's easy. It's efficient. So boom. Second point is the continuation of digital transformation. It's about optimization, automation, efficiency. What is it about? You keep exactly the same business model, but more efficient, more automated, more cost functional, and so on. In there, every CEO wants to make headways, but it answers to the same business principles does it make sense? Is it going to be faster? How much will it cost me? Does it work? And so they have all the questions. They can go about it. It's called digital transformation, not AI. AI makes it quicker, faster, but they're saying, oh, I should delegate that to my CTO because I don't know. It's scary. Yeah. I've got to get out of my cave. And what is that line? But they will get there. So the known will be. But the real thing that literally nobody uses it for is the real transformational power of AI. And that's the strategic AI, where you go out of your basic business model and you start creating new opportunities, leverage, and unblock some of the spaces in your business, unblock and unlock new spaces, new markets, new. And what I do now, we've trialed quite a bit around, when you have to have strategy consultants for, let's say, a mid cap, let's say a 50 million, a small a scale up, yeah, let's say 50 million US of revenue. It costs you easily 3 months and 30,000 US to have a few slides of some clever strategy. So it's long, it's expensive, so you're probably not going to do it. Now we do something very similar in 90 minutes workshop, where we leverage, and it's an intersect of exponential thinking and methodology, because it's the art of asking the right questions, working on the business, which I've done for years, leveraging the generative AI and that's the power of having 1,000 consultants in the room on two layers. One, aggregated knowledge in the web, but then thinking on themselves. It's like having these 1,000 guys speaking to each other. What do you think? And generating new insights in real time. But it's the art of the prompt, asking the right questions, prepping the AI, messaging the AI. And it's not difficult. It's learning to drive a car. It's not more difficult than that. Over 3 sessions, our CEOs are good to go. And then I do sessions for their core teams. Otherwise, it's the CEO coming back on the Monday morning saying, hey guys, I've had another bright ideas. And everyone goes, oh, he's doing it again. But getting teams to learn to drive and dance with the AI over literally a handful of sessions. And then they generate the 80/20s, the one thing that can unlock the next stage of growth or the next. And so I think that's fascinating. So, and I offer that. So for scale-up CEOs, I offer first workshop complimentary. I love doing that, and it's great for them. They find it useful. But the point is, as a summary, Nobody uses AI for its real transformation power because we're wired onto doing more of the same in our businesses and the fear of the unknown. And two, it's amazing that it replaces to a large extent or to a reasonable extent the strategy consulting that used to be long and painful and costly. And so, yeah, but again, it's the new thing. It will keep evolving, but people will get to, we're slow to change, but we do change.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it makes sense that you use your trained business mind and business experience to give the right prompts, because it also takes a strategic mind to give the right prompts for a
Yeah,
useful outcome. Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. So, Loic, where can people get a hold of you? Do you have any social media where you're active on?
Yeah, I think the easiest is on DisruptiveLeap.com. So there's something about the AI workshops there, on getting in touch about coaching. And so simply people can WhatsApp, email, book a 30-minute chat or all from the website. So DisruptiveLeap.com or on social media, I think mostly LinkedIn, I suppose.
Mhm. Fantastic. Thank you so much.